There we go. Let's put this here. We'll also add this. Actually, we should put it. Well, it won't let us put it at the end, will it? So if var ID is in this armors, add armors. That's weird. So I'm gonna well, we'll add a call once we actually get it stopped there. Okay, so let's see. Game party dot so it returns an array with one element in it, and that's a 0 null. Awesome. So let's see. Let's go into that. This dot weapons. What does this dot weapons return? That's the one returning the 0, right? Yeah. So this weapons, we need to see what this is actually spitting at because it's not doing it correctly. Oh, that's up here. Ah, crap. Right. Okay. So here's the culprit. Need to overwrite it here. So var ID in var ID in this dot weapons. Oh, for every so for every ID in weapons. So basically, ID is the weapon. So it should actually be called weapon, not. So yeah, I'm gonna change it because it makes more sense this way. If weapon is instance of game item, just because I want to have backwards compatibility here. Game instance weapon, then list dot push actually it's going to push back the weapon in that case, then return the list. Alright, let's go ahead and disable all breakpoints, refresh, and see what happens. Nope, still nothing. Okay, so let's go ahead and re-enable the breakpoints. So now we're getting nothing out of this. Okay, we're also doing a filter on all items. Filter function item. So we're getting, and then includes this underscore category. Because it's not a game item anymore, so we need to pull this out as well. So, if item instance of game instance and then it calls is weapon. Which I think we modified up here. Yeah. Problem is, to get there we have to go through the category, and the category isn't there. Else we'll do the switch. Again though, that's not the problem. The problem is that this is an object, right? So these checks are not going to work at this point in time. No, I'm thinking of the other time. This is different. On this one, it will be a type of game instance weapon, because at this point it's already been saved to the party weapons array. The problem is we're not pulling it out of there with these functions for some reason. So weapons, if so let's put a check on that, put a breakpoint on that. Weapons there, one there. All right, and let's see. All right, so I'm going to see what weapon is. Okay, so we're pulling out the keys, not the internal bits. So this is similar to a for object and object.keys for each loop, just without that bit of it in it. Okay. So what we need to do then is, that makes sense now. Change this to weapon ID. And then, what the hell, I have to go to width. And down here, do a var weapon equals list underscore weapons weapon ID. Okay. grab one over here. Okay, now we do have something. We have our stuff in here. Okay, but we're still not seeing any information being pulled over into here. So let's take this out. So we need to figure out what we're actually pushing into data here. So data is still empty. Okay, so this filter includes so it also tries to pass through a null. Oh, from that, I think. That includes. So we have this includes, but it's not returning true for this. And that's why it's not being added to. It's not passing the filter, in other words. Why not? So let's break this out a bit. So we can get in there and see what's actually being returned from that function. So what is test? Test is false. Okay, so his weapon is spitting out a false. So that's over here in the up here somewhere. So let's see what's going on. So that one's a null, so that's fine. Alright, so plus. So game says, yeah, game instance weapon. So item instance of object should be true because it is an instance of object. Now if we add instance that would make it false. So yeah, the problem here is that we need to check for the game weapon, the instance weapon first, because we need this also for loading in regular data from the weapons data, the data weapons global list. So we just need to switch these around. Not this one. This one. So if it doesn't pass through here, then it's not an instance of game instance weapon, so it's some other object. And then if it doesn't do any of that stuff, or actually if it's, let's do an else, just to catch it if it doesn't do anything. Just so we don't have any nulls or undefineds being returned through this. So that's an else if, so there would be maybe a case where if this was something other than an object, it would return an undefined or something. Okay, good. That's still getting added up there. Perfect. Test is now true. And data array is undefined. Damn. Actually, no, we're not in that anymore. That's why. Data array is 1. Yes. Perfect. We now have our thing here. Awesome. So now what happens? And here we go. Game instance weapon is not defined. What the hell? Oh, there's a typo. That's why. Where is that? It's in the one of the window things she brought in. Game. Let's see. Instance of game instance weapon. That's not it. Where's that at? Console, where are you? 91. Instance weapon. Okay. So that's good though. We got it's hitting that thing, which is awesome. So we know that part's working now. So maybe, just maybe this time, we'll actually see something written in the damn window instead of nothing. Or crashing, or what have you. Yes, sword. But it's showing up when it shouldn't be. It's showing up on all of them, instead of just one of them. And we're showing a 0 on the amount. So we got some things to fix on that, obviously. But we got it showing, which is cool. What if I get another one? Now we have 2 swords. Awesome. So they are treated as individual objects. Now, what's this? This is the amount, which should obviously be 1, but it's low. It's coming up as 0, and it's also showing up on everything instead of just one thing. It should only be underneath weapon. So why is it being displayed? So let's actually let's close this and come over here real quick. So I want to change items, potion, add a couple of those. Okay. Also add in, say, stimulants. Add in one of those. Apply. Okay. Let's run this and see what happens. So here we can see we have stuff here. Yeah, so it's not showing on everything. It's only showing on the one tab. We're not showing the item names are not being drawn anymore. So that's interesting. What is drawing the item amount? Well, that's somewhere else. Okay, so the name is not working. So that's on line 93 of the plugin. I just want to see if that's something from the plugin or if it's something from something else that we need to fix. Okay, get rid of this. Interesting. So it should be calling these two. Draw out a name, draw out a number. So maybe this is not working. So let's go to the watch. Let's just delete everything and start from scratch here. So item. Item is it's an object. So again, we need to go the other direction with these. Crap. Need to change it over here where it actually matters. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so there's that. Now, if we go over here and also get one of these. Okay, they're showing up together. That's good. Okay, cool. So those won't show there, but the sword still shows everywhere. I was worried about if these would be compatible to have this kind of, because, well, it should be, because what we're passing back from that function is going to be the data weapons or data items or whatever data from the global lists, which will have all the stuff in it to build these. So the main problem is we're getting the sword inside of things that are not sword, not weapons. Probably because we need to do a different check somewhere on the item type to segregate them from these. There's probably another filter somewhere that handles that. Now, item number. That was also over here in a window, which is actually over. It's over here. Draw item number. So game party num items item. Yeah. So let's see what that does. Num items. So item container. container item ID and how many items, if not zero. So container so if the container is not null, in other words, then container item ID or 0 for true. That's interesting. Never seen an or used there. Or for false, 0. So I guess what this means is that if container item ID, if the item ID doesn't exist for that in the container, then use 0. Else use 0 for false. So now this item container item, which is the thing that brings up the, I think we aliased it over here, or not aliased, we overrode it over here. Maybe. Or not. Okay, maybe we didn't. Where are you at? There it is. Oh no, that's not it. Here. Yeah, so this one, and calls as weapon. All right. So that, yeah, we didn't alias that. Well, no, we modified it to do some testing, so that's fine. So is weapon returns this weapon, so the container, and then in that container we're looking for an ID. Now, in this case, we would be looking for what ID? So let's look at, hell, is it up or down? I think it's up. No, it's definitely down. Definitely down, not up. Here. We need to figure out what we're passing through. We're looking for item, well, it's item.id. So if it's if it's one of our weapons, that's not, it's not .id, it's dot, yeah, the other thing. So actually what we'll need to do is we will need to alias this, or not alias it, but override it. So let's throw this in the plugin. Got so much stuff over here. Didn't want to have to do that. Well, I didn't want to have to do it, but I knew we would have to do it because it's just such a complicated thing to change to instance-based weapons. It's like literally rewriting half the freaking code in this damn engine. So that's fine up to this part. The part for the return we have to check separately. So if item instance of game instance weapon return. So if it's an instance weapon, it's always going to be 1. We don't have to do anything else other than that. We just return 1 for it. Else if item else if it's an object, which it will be, anything else will be an object. Then look in the container and see if it exists. But we should always return 1 because it's always going to be 1. For one of the instance weapons. Okay, there we go.